the stragglers. When the doors shut, when the doors finally close, only then does the band begin. Begin. Oh, I don't know. Standing room only. Oh, listen. This needs to be up. Makes us all hunch. Right, I think that's enough. Do we? There's no sort of. Yeah, let's go, man.
Welcome to our panel. It's called Winging It with our.
Winging it with the voice people.
Yeah. Should we get started? Want to introduce yourself?
Sure. How y'all doing today? There we go. Start things off with a bang. My name is Trevor Devall. I'm a voice actor from Vancouver. Some of you may know me, I guess, best as Moo the Flogger off of Gundam.
Hello, I'm Sam Vincent, also living here in lovely Vancouver. I guess people are here because they saw me in Gundam Seed, perhaps. People like Hamtaro. Yeah. I like Hamtaro. Some of the people from the States, they know me from Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Hello, it's Double D. Greetings and salutations.
And other, you know, they say, I'm DB baby. Go on, Brian.
I'm Brian Dobson, and I'm a Vancouver voice actor also. And you may recognize me from old stuff up at He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, some stuff with Warhammer 40,000. And, yeah, cartoons, video games, Death Note, stuff like that. But we'll talk. We'll learn more about each other as we go along.
I'm Veronica Taylor. I'm in from New York. I'm representing the East Coast. Thank you. I love all of you. It's my first time in Vancouver. I suppose I'm mostly well known for playing Ash and Ash's mom and Thank you. We can talk about that later on too. So, I like this mini Ash up front. So I guess what we might as well do is open it up to questions so that we can talk about what you want to talk about. Because I'm sure we'll all talk about what we want to talk about.
We're going to have a 5-minute period for where you guys get to answer as many questions, and then the rest of the time we're just going to talk about ourselves. So I think that's pretty fair, right? No, I'm just joking.
What?
Yes.
I have a question for Veronica Taylor. Yeah, how do you feel about the episodes that 4 kids didn't do in the original series, like the infamous seizure-causing one featuring Porygon, and there was one where Ash, it explains where he gets the 30 Tauros in the Safari Zone. I want to say,
Right.
How do you feel about those episodes? Because I'm a little ticked off that removing the one where he captures the Tauros, being such an obvious continuity flaw, is just inexcusable in my books.
Right.
About the seizure-causing episode, the late Maddie Blaustein, best known for Meow, she said that they got to put Rachel Lillis, best known for Misty and Jessie. She said she swore in her life she never got that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for the most part, I went into work and did whatever we were doing and went home. But so that's how I know that we didn't do those because I guess I found out later that we didn't. But I'm certainly happy that we didn't do the seizure one for many reasons. But I think that, you know, in the U.S. especially, there's many restrictions on what can go on air. So for whatever reason, the ones that we didn't dub couldn't have aired anyway. So then that's okay with me for that. Because I certainly wouldn't want to offend anyone or injure someone. So, but we didn't do those ever, nor did I ever see them, as a matter of fact.
Thank you.
Over there.
What are your opinions about English dubbing for anime? And what's the worst dubbing you've ever seen?
Is this a general question or just the worst dubbing we've ever seen? You know, I grew up in the 70s, and and before the earth cooled in the 70s. And I remember growing up with a fine little show called Battle of the Planets, and it was the best thing ever when you're 7, and then when you go back to watch it again when you're not 7, sort of 37, it's really not very good. Turns out. I mean, the storyline's all cool, but the dubbing, wow, man. Wow, it's like this. So if this is the mouth going, all right, I'm totally like matching the flaps right here. Quick, we've got to get into the vessel and destroy the thing, or else the world's gonna blow up. Seriously. So that fond memories for me watching Battle of the Planet. As an adult, not as a child.
Okay. Well, the fact that I don't speak Japanese and I only speak English, well, I speak French too, but I'm glad that there's English dubs, or else I wouldn't be doing anything. So I kind of in favor of the English language being used in animation. And to what Trevor was saying, I think that now, you know, everyone has their favorite things. You know, some people prefer the original Japanese, whatever. But the fact is, I think people take the dubbing way more seriously now, and I think back in the day there may have been a tendency just to do it kind of haphazardly and just get it out there, the product out there, and now people pay much more attention to the performance. So I think it's come a long way since those 70s.
That's right.
Brian, do you have anything to say?
I too am very happy for English dub because we probably wouldn't be sitting here today.
That's true.
Outside of that, I prefer actually watching the original Japanese. I usually prefer that outside of watching the dubs. Shame on me. And the worst dub, that might get the award. I guess Mothra versus Godzilla was a pretty darn good one. And then, I mean, if anyone's tuned into the Mystery Science Theater 3000, they have a coveted collection of some of the worst dubs ever put together too. So, anyway, yeah.
I'm a fan of watching things in their original language as well, but it's been amazing some of the characters I've had the opportunity to play and hearing what they were like in the original language and then getting to infuse that with my own whatever and bring it to life has been incredible. So I'm happy that there are some dubs. I don't mind watching subtitles, but certainly it's difficult to read subtitles sometimes. I think my worst experience was doing an anime at one point, and the character was supposedly a girl going all the way through doing the whole thing, and at the very end we found out it was a girl dressed as it was a boy dressed as a girl. And I said to the director, wow, that would have been nice to know going into this. Oh, it was fine, thanks for coming with me. So, you know, that was one of my worst experiences.
Attention to detail.
Exactly. Anyone? Yes.
What was your favorite season and favorite episode? What was your favorite season and hated episode?
Of Pokemon?
Yeah.
I loved every season. I loved the adventures that Ash went on. I would have to say probably the first season was the best, yeah, in terms of where we were all just getting to know who the characters were. Personally, working on the show, the people didn't know what they wanted the voice to sound like, and there were too many cooks in the kitchen, as it were, and so when I first got cast as Ash, my brother was 10 at the time, or when I was auditioning, and so I got to listen to the woman who plays Ash in Japanese, and I recorded my brother's voice. And so I said, this is what a 10-year-old actually sounds like. And they were very, very hesitant to hire a woman to play Ash. And I got cast as Ash, and then I was replaced by a child, and then cast again as Ash. And we went through and we did the first episode probably 6 times. And then we still had fixes on that. So I would say the first season for me was torturous, and yet it was, at the same time, probably the best season.
And one more question.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think now about Pokemon Black and White, the new season?
Honestly, I don't think about it much at all without crying. We were all, once the show was taken by Pokemon USA, we were all let go. So we weren't asked to continue on with the show. and I've watched it a couple of times, but for me it's really too hard to hear such different voices coming out of faces that I'm so familiar with. So I really kind of block it out.
It's far too painful to even consider. We don't discuss that here.
But you know, I think good luck to them, and I'm amazed that Pokemon has gone on for so long, quite honestly. But I wish I were still a part of it.
Pokemon rules.
It rules. It rules. Okay.
In the back, yeah.
I have a question for Mr. Dobson.
He called you Mr. Dobson.
What's your background in acting?
Predominantly theater. I did a little bit of film work, but when I lived on Vancouver Island, I worked with a theater group called The First Company, and we did a lot of theater productions. And
What town was that?
Victoria?
Oh, it was Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria.
Represent.
Many, many moons ago. So that really kind of helped break the shell, I think, in a lot of comfort zones for kind of getting into voice and getting down to mic technique and all that. Was a lot easier for me for having kind of a larger presence in with a theater background, I find. So that was predominantly my background. Yonder.
How do you guys choose the voices for the characters that you guys play?
How do we choose?
Yeah, do you just go in like knowing what you're gonna do, or do you just kind of wing it?
I think they choose us.
I don't know. That's really a non-answer. You scared them all.
They often have a a general idea of the direction that they want to go, and they'll give us what they call sides, which are just usual script samples of what the show has got, and within that they'll have, sometimes they'll use, general celebrity references in which they want to, which I kind of hate when they go that direction. I mean, with us as actors, I think we love having that personal freedom to try and give them options, so when they're open to giving a good character breakdown description, instead of saying we want it to sound like Phil Hartman or Shelley Long or whatever the case, it's nice to have that personal freedom. But sometimes they do have a very specific idea of what they want the character to sound like.
I've also found sometimes we listen to, like, they would have a reference, let's say for an anime, they would play maybe what the character sounded like in Japanese, and they want you to get in that zone. I've not really had the freedom ever to go in with, I have this idea for what I want the person to sound like, and that they go, that's it, It's mostly, this is a young character, this is an older, we want her to sound kind of, or him, or, they have a range for the most part.
Yeah. I will say actually that pictures are worth how many words? 1,000. 10. 10. Pictures are 10. Pictures are very helpful if they provide them, like if we're doing a prelay series or even an ADR series. Pictures are very helpful because you can get a sense right away of what the person might sound like, if they're 7 feet tall and rippled with muscles and have sort of an evil expression. They probably don't sound like that. I mean, they might. And that would be a really awesome show if they did. One I want to work on. But typically, it's going to be something that, oh, well, that's an interesting choice, Trevor, but we need to be, dark and evil. So that's a big deal. Pictures.
Yeah, a lot of the time you're working with an idea that you have in your head, and you get in there and go, no. You do, they can say, you're too cartoony, be less cartoony, or be more cartoony, which means, is this show supposed to be grounded in action where the characters have to sound like closer to reality as opposed to, more fun and out there. So it all depends. There's so many different types of cartoons and
yeah, exactly. Like something like Gundam Seed, for example, was sort of like a soap opera type thing. So it's very, very sort of serious. And with the character I played, Moo, his big line was, "I'm the guy who makes the impossible possible." So they wanted that very sort of filmic and Han Solo-like, which is I quite enjoyed describing it that way. But more cartoony would have been inappropriate for the show. So I'm the guy who makes the impossible possible. Obviously, it would have been a totally different character.
it would have been a choice, though.
It would have been a strong, bold choice and a wrong choice. A choice nonetheless. A choice so bold that they would have given the job to somebody else. Yes.
I was wondering, I know voice actor have to
Like when you fall.
Ow.
I always have had a hard time laughing. You know, like as the I could cry or get hit or something, but sometimes laughing and making it sound genuine is difficult for me.
It's kind of weird when you get set on what they say a prelay series, and you always have to offer up what they call a voice wall library. And it's a library of falling sounds and getting punched or getting stabbed or thrown off a building and landing and the pains of it all. And it's like you have to do it in the small, louder kind of thing.
1 foot fall.
Exactly,
foot
5 foot, pretty footfall.
Yeah.
No impact. It's, yeah, so it's kind of weird when you have to do stuff.
If you ever want to hear a room full of voice actors go, aww, just say, it's time to do the Walla Libraries! Aww.
That's true. Well, Brian actually, I think, could probably speak to this. Brian's had a number of occasions where his effort sounds have been so intense that he's blown out his voice. Like on the Warhammer game that we did, Brian was... Actually, we called that the voice wrecker game because everybody in town was walking around by the end of that week because it was brutal. I was playing a series of characters. Well, I was playing all the dwarves and all the elves. They're bad, you know. But I was playing this thing called the Skaven, which are these rat men, and it was brutal, man, because it was like 300 lines of. So that was a bit hard in the pipe. But Brian was playing all the orcs. And tell us about the orcs, Brian.
The orcs are all like me, like really big sounding half the time.
And then on the other side, I'd have to go and do this other voice of Gabriel Angelos, and he's in here, which is a little cleaner. And having to do a day between the two of those two voices, it stretched your vocal cords so much. I had to get it so my agent would book me and make sure, sorry, we can only book him on a Thursday or Friday, so he's got 2 days recovery over the weekend to get back into Monday. It's there's some of these. It's like Dragon Ball Z. That was another show that was Frappuccino on the throat. 7-hour fights.
I don't know if you guys...
Whole episodes of nothing but.
I don't know if you guys have ever had this happen to you when you, I don't know, maybe just, but there would be like a ramp up to something and you have to do like the super powered, I don't know, punch, whatever, and you're like, and you do this thing, and then by the end of it, I'd be like, these little sparkly things are shooting. Whoa! It's like, I don't know if you've had it.
They're like little pixies.
Yeah, they're like pixies. You do it, you're like, holy.
My little friends.
I once had this whole yelling where she was going to this spiral vortexy thing falling in, and unfortunately I did it all in one breath, and then right afterwards fainted.
Probably hear that on the tape.
You know, in the booth, there's just a window, so I just disappeared for a little bit, and then I stood back up. And they're like, are you okay?
We've lost her.
Death scenes can go on and on like that too, and screaming. For some reason, most of the characters I play tend to die by falling off buildings. Tall buildings. Really tall buildings. So it's like, well, I won't do it now because I know, but it's just, that was okay. Can we get it a little longer?
So those are some of the painful things that can happen, boys. Sir.
This question is for Sam.
Yes.
You played the voice role of Flim in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
Oh yeah.
Was that the first time you had done a role that involved a musical number, or did you have experience with that before?
Sam does quite a few musical numbers.
Let's not talk about my other career. No, that's not the first time I've actually had a song in a show. I actually, way back when, I did all the singing for Sonic and Sonic Underground. I was the voice of Sonic because I guess the guy who was playing the voice, he wasn't crazy about singing or whatever, I don't know. So I got cast, so I did a whole season of different songs for Sonic Underground.
What was that? You got cast as like a Justin Timberlake.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, that was There's a show called Rated A for Awesome.
Yes.
It's on YTV right now. But yeah, I played that.
I played this really hip kind of. It was like, hey, cool kid. I was like the coolest teacher ever, right? And I was like Justin Timberlake. It was like, loving the learning, loving the learning. And it was like, oh my God, he's so dreamy. It's hey, kids, everything's cool, yeah. So yeah, but the Flim Flam episode on My Little Pony was awesome because it was like an ode to I guess, a Music Man, the musical, and it was just fun to sing in that. And it's still in my head, like, yes. Well, we got your brother of mine, it's the same in every town. Ponies with us, it's like it's embedded in my brain. But that was fun, yeah. Thank you. Yes.
So this is a question for Veronica Taylor. So you voice Ash and Ash's mom in the Pokemon series. What's it like talking to yourself?
Not that I do it at all, walking down the street or anything like that. But a lot of times when you're doing ADR, you go in for Pokemon, especially. I'd be one of the first people in. So at least when I was the first person in, and then I recorded the scene all the way through as one character and went back, I had someone to talk to. Then, because most of the time no one else was recorded, so you're looking at the script and trying to guess how the other people are going to say their lines so you can respond to it. So it was kind of a luxury. At least I knew what to expect. But it is kind of nice to be like, Ash, don't forget to change your underwear. Oh,
Okay, that's cool. I was just wondering, since this is a general question, has your voice ever stopped working in the middle of a take? Like, ever just like, no, I can't do this anymore kind of thing?
And that voice comes, sorry, please hold, stand by.
Ever stopped working in the middle? But very rarely.
Well, maybe you mean like, has voice started to get so worn down that it's hard to speak during a session?
Yeah.
Well, I would say, I would think the most difficult time is doing like the long, huge sessions like Warhammer and things like that, where you're going through it character by character. And if you're playing something like a big, nasty warlock, which is just all about, and here, after a while, it's just like, okay, now we're gonna go to your young character, and it's like, really? That's fantastic.
You can tell if there's an inexperienced director in the room. Also, you're actually wanting me to go there now.
Yeah.
After you put that weed whacker down my throat.
The thing is I think you learn this more as you go along, is that if you know that you've got some pretty big, nasty screams coming up, you say, let's do those at the end of the show when we can just like completely thrash my throat, and let's do all the stuff that you need my higher levels, let's do that now, and then we'll do all the other stuff later. So you really do have to take care of your voice and be aware of what it is you've got going on during the day. And then sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes you got a character that you just got to play this really harsh character, and you hope that the next day you don't have anything that's too, having to sound too young or whatever, and you have like a day to heal it up a bit. So.
And I think too, when you take classes and you learn about how to use your voice and your breath control and all of that, you learn ways to shift your voice so that you can put it into different areas. I think when you're sick, it's somewhat unavoidable. Like, you have to really work to take care of yourself and not catch a cold and things like that.
Yeah, there are ways to scream, and there are ways not to scream.
Yeah, you've got to cheat it. You really do. Because you could do a lot of damage, and if you don't have any longevity in this work, you should, especially if you're starting off as a voice actor, you should really do a lot of vocal warm-ups before you go into doing a session if you know it's going to be some really hot work on your throat. Because that's your instrument, and if you wreck that, that's it. I made that mistake once on playing Ben Grimm on Fantastic Four, and we were playing the scene where we were fighting the Hulk at the end of the scene, and the guy that was playing the Hulk is a guy called Mark Gibbon, and he's a monster of a man, and when he speaks, it's huge sounding. And trying to compare the fight scene so that we could get it big enough where these guys, I wish he would have pulled back a little more, because they kept on getting me to go after him, So in the end, I actually tore my larynx, and it cost me about 3 months of work. So that can happen.
Learn.
Yeah, I'll never let that happen again, so I really know how to cheat it, you know.
Front
Is the best to ask a question.
Athens all.
Yeah.
Just joking.
Gender jumping?
Gender jumping is a specialty of it. That's an excellent question, actually. I mean, like, what are some of the things you had to think about when were portraying a little boy? It's not just the voice.
Well,
obviously.
for Ash, for instance, you know, I really do think he's kind of that positive energy that we all have inside of us, and so that in my real life, I've always played sports, but I don't really do that a lot right now. So the idea of being in battles and throwing things, and I kind of just watch the picture and get into him. So it's not really me anymore. So for a lot of the characters I play, whether it's a girl or a boy or some old lady or something, I try to physicalize who they are while I'm in the booth. Like certain characters, I play Amelia on Slayers, and I have to have the microphone up a little higher because she's so way up here that I'm kind of up higher. But for Ash, I'm, you know, down here, really, you know. So I have to kind of get into it a little bit more. And it all depends on who the character is, I think. You kind of embody who they are, not necessarily as a boy or a girl. At least I don't.
Well, I mean, I can't speak to ever. I just know that a lot of the female voice actors in town who excel at playing boy characters, they're able to capture the essence of what that boy energy. And a lot of times, I can't do the little boy voice because there's this energy to it and this thing that they bring to it that some women just don't have it in them. And other women are like, maybe they were tomboys as kids, so they understand that kind of energy and that feel.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I have a child, and I am a child, but I'm around kids a lot, and so there's a different energy that we all have at different stages in our lives, and maybe as actors you try to kind of have that all at once, and so you can, sometimes I think like there's a kid I see all the time, and he has a particular voice quality and the way he is. I think of him sometimes when I have an audition. Like, how would he be?
Right.
Because he's now, I don't know, 11 or something. So I kind of picture that. That way, riding on the subway or the bus is good for me, because then I try to pick out characters.
And it really is like a total body thing too. We're yes, we're voice actors, but we're constantly using our bodies when we're in front of the microphone. Like I just played, I think I can talk about this now. I just played Colossus on Joss Whedon's new X-Men series, Astonishing X-Men. And when I was recording that Colossus, you know, he's obviously a very big guy. So when I was in front of the booth, I would be like this, like puffing my chest out like this, and being very close to the mic. But the body was entirely in it, like this. Yeah. So the body.
That's a great count, chocolate.
Oh, thank you. That's great. So yeah, the body's certainly a tool, and you learn to use that. You can't mock me in public.
No, I'm gonna mock myself now. For being naughty, I'm going to say that, talking about, switching genders, if there's a shortage of females in the room for voice like Walla for men, for women, they'll usually say, "Oh, so can we get Tabitha, Marika, and Sam? Can you just fill in for us there for?" Because I'm gonna try, but sometimes if I try and do my best kind of light, kind of airy voice like that, it's kind of weird and tranny-like. But at the same time, when you're filling it in with a bunch of groups, it's good enough. So yeah, I will be the substitute.
That's true.
Yeah.
When the director says, "Okay, all the girls stand up,"
and Sam.
Let's assume.
1, 2, 3.
Up.
No! Thanks, Sam. No problem.
You're welcome. Yeah, no problem. Yar.
Have you ever had one of those experiences where you walk in, you get a completely out of left field, entirely insane character to play, and then you walk out and you're just thinking, what have I done?
You want to take a shower or something?
All the time.
Almost every day, I think, we kind of go, what are we getting paid to do here, people? It's just or you look at somebody who's having to do some crazy wall, or like somebody's playing a monkey, and they're
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
and they're like, and they're doing the crazy things, and you go, what are we doing here, people?
Those weird animal sounds and strange characters
Oh.
that are.
It's
I
very
don't know where
surreal.
people, how they think of those things to make us do them.
The-
Actually.
Yeah.
The strangest, lately, the strangest wall thing that we had to do, I'm working on this show called Maya the Bee, which is based on this, I think it was originally a German children's book.
Yeah, and it's running in New York.
Oh, is it? Okay, so they're doing this new CGI children's series. And it's strange. I don't know if it's because it's French produced or I don't know what, but basically there was this scene where the bees, there's a bee nest, and basically the bees were in trouble because there was some kind of a contamination or something, but the only way they could soothe this contamination was with the feces of an ant. So, yeah, it was weird. So basically, I played Paul, the leader of the ant, so I was like, and I'm very like, yeah, I was like kind of a patent character, and the bees came to us and I said, all right, troops, get ready, and we all had to do pooing wall. So we all got together and did the whole, and it was like, we're doing the whole thing, and we're all like, and a friend of ours caught it, we went around the room, we got it on the iPhone camera, we're all like, all of us going around taking our turn doing that. So that was fun. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's gotta be the worst.
That's when you really say, my God, what is it I do for them? Look at this, it's unbelievable. It is, we're always throwing whacked out characters all the time, and especially in anime because there's so many little characters. It's assumed that you're going to be playing your main character, your couple main characters, and 7 or 8 other people who have like 1 or 2 lines and stuff. And sometimes they're the funnest characters to do.
Oh yeah.
I remember one show. Oh, I don't remember the show. Sorry, I don't remember the show. But I remember one point there was this character who he came in. He was like in a few episodes, but he only had a couple lines. And for some reason, the director wanted me to play him like.
Kind of like Ben Crosby, so I came in here. Fish? What? You want some fresh fish? Here's the fish fry. Here's the fresh fish.
And they loved it. They kept playing that line over and over and over again. But the character, he spoke like 3 times. But the director said, "That was my favorite character in the series. He was awesome, the fresh fish guy." That was bizarre. You never know.
I played a curry bun in Ranma one time. I was like, "You're the curry bun." I was like, "All right, let's do this."
Mom, guess what I played today? Guess what I did at work today?
I played a.
Get a real job! Next! Yeah.
Muso. And various other little guys, but yeah.
Thank you.
That was simultaneous, so I don't know where you're going.
Okay.
Sure.
Be my bride.
Ghost Cat? Is that registering here? Okay, anyway.
I was expecting at least a little woo or something. Well, it's too late, you.
Stuck in an elevator? No.
Stuck in a voice?
No. Where someone swats you up the side, just stop doing that.
Stop it.
I don't know.
I would say they probably slip out every once in a while.
Yeah. There's really nothing more irritating in the whole world than a room full of voice actors. Just gotten out of session. It's,
I think it's
You'll hear it all.
no. It's more annoying when they're going into session.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, they
The
We're all like
the pre-energy is insane.
Yeah, pre-record energy can get pretty wacky.
Yeah, I stuck in a voice. Sometimes stuck in an accent. That's a big problem for me.
Yeah.
I was telling a story actually. I just got back from Ireland, and I was there for 2 weeks. And it doesn't take me long to start to sort of pick up the accent, but I can, it's fine when I do it on purpose. But when I start to talk to people like that and realise, without even knowing it, without even thinking about it, right? Pretty soon, there it is. And my friends are going, why are you talking? Talking like what? What do you mean? I'm fine. I'm talking totally normal. You're the freak here, not me. You're fine. What's the same? How about way in the back?
Yeah, I have a question. Have you ever played a character, but in the show, you actually want to play a different character?
Like you kind of like voice actor jealousy.
Kinda.
Yeah, I'm stuck playing this guy, but I wish it was that guy.
Why isn't it me?
I like to play every part.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all the time.
I don't know.
I'm just thankful for every job. I just really enjoy every job equally.
You know, nice! I think everybody, you know, it's always the grass is greener on the other side sometimes with...
Always want what you haven't got, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crikey.
You know, like, you know, there's always little things that people do that's so unique. I'm talking about not necessarily characters, but voice people. And they have a special thing they do that nobody else can do, and you go, that's cool, I wish I could do that, you know, and or they bring a certain quality to, you know, characters. I mean, I usually play young guys, mid-range, you know, or little creatures and things like that. And sometimes I venture into bad guys if they're not older bad guys. So I always, you know, you always look at the guys that play the big, you know, manly men. And you go, great. But then, on the other hand, I'm very thankful that it's such a youth-driven market that most of the voices sound young nowadays. So I go, well, I guess I'm okay with that as well. So.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I every time I go to work, I'm just amazed by the talent of my colleagues. It really does blow me away. And it's pretty hard to be sort of jealous of someone who you've worked with for years and years and years, and you know them intimately, and you know their, you know, wives and kids and all that stuff, and they're just consistently awesome every single time. You know, I think we're in Vancouver. We're totally lucky that way because there's a group of us that do basically everything in town, and everybody is so awesome, but sort of for their own reasons. So it's.
I'm very thankful.
But it is something great when, especially, you know, everybody auditions for something, and at least you know the person who got it, and they're great, so you can be happy for them. And I have to agree with, we have that to some extent in New York as well. And so it's like one of the families working. It's great, you know.
And you know what? That's actually true because I've said this for years that the voice community here is like
it's like a big happy family. It's just one big happy family.
But it's kind of true because we all know each other so well, and it's a joy to go to work. But it really is, you know. It's great because all of these people are great to work with, except Sam. He's a jackass. But
I know that, Trevor. I know.
Is there somebody
There's a man.
in the back? In the back.
I like waiting young from.
I knew you would ask that question, actually.
Favorite lines.
Wow. There's so many.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Where do you start?
Look at me, you do it.
I always liked in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe when my character Skeletor would call Trapjaw a metallurgical miscreant.
Trapjaw, you metallurgical miscreant, get my ambrosia now!
That's awesome. It's for many people.
Favorite lines? Yeah, there's been a bunch. I mean, again, Mulaflaga, he's the man. He's a man. So that line, you know, hey, the Hawk of Endymion, I'm the guy who makes the impossible possible. Of course, that's one of my favorite lines. But there was another line I did in a movie called Ark, which was an animated feature we did, and James Woods was in that, and he was the good guy, and I was the big bad guy in it. And there's a scene where I'm torturing some people to death. Quite nice, family-friendly kind of show, obviously. And he torched this guy, and his wife or sister or something starts to cry. And so the character I played named Barramanda turns to the weeping woman and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Was that your husband or your father, perhaps? Oh, I'm sorry. How terrible for you." So that's a line that works really good on chicks in bars. That's my pickup line. So I'm still single is the point.
We're so sorry for you.
Of course you're going comfortable.
I think I'm not comfortable. I don't know. I usually just have a little tag like for characters when I'm getting into them. Like for Double D, I would be oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh boy, you know. And it just I don't have actual lines. It's just like little phrases. Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. You know, or whatever it is. So I don't actually have a line of dialogue that I like particularly.
I hate it all.
Not
It's just
to say
one of the
that-
realization
that's not a knock on the writing, but
Lack thereof.
lack thereof. But no, sorry.
I think as Ash, my favorite part was because I loved his relationship with Pikachu. I loved how when he would go, "Hey, buddy," you know, they were so cute. You deserve a good long rest. Great job. Like, "Hey, Rocco," you know, silly things like that. But otherwise, no, I don't have any. Those phrases don't ever stick with me at all.
Yes, you would.
This kind of comes up with the if you want to be a character. So you said everyone's good friend and all, but is there a character that you really want to play? Like you know
That you wish you had been cast as to play that character.
But it's like a little dream when you're a kid, or just what's a character that you haven't played that you want to play?
This show that I think is just being released now, this Astonishing X-Men, when I auditioned for it, as I said, I'm Colossus on it, which is pretty cool. You know, Colossus is pretty cool. But I was up for Wolverine. I was up for Wolverine, and I thought I had a real good shot at that. They said, "You got a real good shot, kid. Snick, get ready for the snick." No snick. No snick. A tremendous actor, again, one of our guys, Brian Drummond, winds up playing him. Much to Scott McNeil's chagrin, but I probably shouldn't say that on YouTube. But Brian, of course, does a bang-up job, and just his sort of natural voice was really, really close to sort of the reference that they gave. So, as much as I love being part of that show, and as much as I love playing Colossus, it's one of those things where I say to people, "Hey, I'm in the X-Men cartoon." They go, "Oh yeah, who do you play?" And I go, "Colossus," and they go, "Is he the..." But if you say Wolverine, "Oh yeah, that's awesome, stick with the thing and the thing." And I don't get it. So, yeah.
It's not a particular character that it's usually a type of character that I want to try out. So, I mean, I like it because usually I'm playing like the lead kind of young hero type, which is great. But sometimes you want to be a bad guy, and I've had a chance to do that a couple times, and so that's always fun when you get to break out of what you're, because we all have our kind of things that we do really well, and we do it consistently. But sometimes you get a shot at doing something else, and it makes you happy because you get to stretch a different muscle, you know. So if you get to play a maniacal bad guy, you're happy. Or even if it's just something that you don't normally get to do, you're always a little happy about that. So that's what I have to say.
I'm just trying to think of something that I really wanted. I mean, there was a lot of shows that I watched. I was always a huge fan of Samurai Jack and stuff like that. Like, wishing one day I could get on that show. It never
Did he
happened.
even speak on that show though?
Well, there's a lot of swords fans.
I always wanted to be the sword.
Maybe I should have been a Foley artist instead. But in general, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with what I've had over the years. I can't complain too much. But it's true though. I mean, there's that other side of the fence that you never get. There's a lot of characters that Sam's played. I wish I really had a chance to play.
Really? I didn't know. I'll
You're
have
far
to talk
too
later.
You're far too masculine and
I know,
manly.
but I could never do that range, so I just have to sit and admire the masterful job he does. Son of a... But I mean, in general, no, I'm pretty happy with the way things have been going, so, yeah.
I definitely like to have a stretch, something that's very different from who I actually am. And I think I've always wanted to play some kind of superheroes. So that's where I'd love to go. Superheroes, Wonder Woman, Batgirl, you name it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at the whole of just...
Roar in the back, yeah.
Hello.
Sorry, here?
Well, no, he's.
Okay.
Okay, here.
Question for Veronica. Other than Pikachu, what would be yours or Ash's most
Favorite
memorable
Pokemon?
Pokemon? Yeah.
Pikachu totally tops the list. Lapras,
Lapras.
because you get to ride around on.
Yeah. Okay.
Charmander.
Charmander. Okay.
Yeah, I would say those are my favorites. Trico. I love lizards. That would be one of my favorites.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
But Lapras, maybe I could ride that to work.
Yeah.
Cool. Other than a magic carpet, it's probably the next best thing.
The girl in the back of the striped shirt next to the guy with the incredibly thick hair. No, the woman in the straight. Yes.
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a request for Veronica Taylor, and we know it'll never happen, but could you do a confession to Misty?
No, absolutely not. Because there's no way that I or Ash could ever say something to Misty that would be more like, get off my back! I mean, you're my friend, but no, I certainly could never do something like that. Because somewhere it will get misplaced. And I couldn't do that.
Hello, yes.
Do I like muppets? Is this a trick question?
They're all trick questions.
I know. I think so. Fair enough.
In the back there. For who? You. Oh, for me?
Don't you know you when
Oh,
you hear
yeah,
it?
I just saw you. Perfect. Go ahead.
When Lego did the Bionicle movies,
Yes.
what was your first thought of Lego doing a Bionicle movie? Like going from blocks to action figures?
What was my first thought when they were going from blocks to action figures? Wow, I get paid. That was my first thought. That was actually a really great show to do. That was, we did, I think, 3 movies. And the first one I was Toa Pohatu, and then Nuju was the guy in the second and third. And I actually have a very embarrassing story which I'll share with the world. Thanks a lot. So I'm in a Toys R Us one day, just, cruising the aisles, man. No, I'm in a Toys R Us because I'm looking for particular toys of characters that I've done. So I go to the Bionicle section, and there they are, and there's a million Bionicle sections, and I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be so cool, this is gonna be so cool. And I see this little guy, he's maybe, 11 or something, he's like the perfect age for the Bionicle thing, and he's got his mom, and his mom is like picking up different Bionicles, and she's like, well, what about this guy? Well, I already have that guy, but what about this? And they go, and she's, well, maybe you'd like this guy. So I'm seeing this, and I can see that she's getting closer to Toa Nuju, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna give this kid a little thrill. So I go up there, and I'm about to say, son, and then go into the Nuju voice, which honestly I forgot.
Oh.
I don't honestly remember. I remember Toa Pohatu sounded something like this. But I was about to go up and do the voice, and just as I'm about to do the voice, she goes, and what about him? And he goes, no, he sucks. Ouch! Yeah. So, I beat him within an inch of his life. But going over to toys was a good thing, largely. Except for that. Yeah. Yes.
This is for Sam Vincent.
Yes.
What was it like to get the role of Pidge in Voltron Force?
What was it like?
Yeah.
It was transcendent.
It was actually, well, it's one of those things where you're happy to do it and excited, but there's a lot of old school Voltron fans who, have certain ideas about how Pidge should be because it was so very. I didn't get a ribbon in my hair this time, which was kind of a bummer. But no, it was fun. I loved the way they did the new Voltron. I love the look of the characters. I love how they I like the old Voltron too, for its own reasons, but I like the fact that they kind of modernized it and made it, kind of